There we go. Okay, so anything to do with forms, we're just going to come up to our Forms tab. And form, we're going to go to the form list. Just starting with looking at the form list, there's a couple of things I can point out. So these are where all of your forms will populate once they're created. You can search these forms, so it's like if you have a ton of events that you're creating over the next couple years and you end up with just a lot of forms in here, you can search them so it's not overwhelming to search through all of them. This area here will tell you how many form submissions you have, and from here you'll be able to go to the list and view the form submissions, as well as there's another way you can view registrants as well. It's basically the same information. So you'll be able to view those pieces of information right in here. And I think this is a great snapshot because it'll just tell you how many people have even taken the form. So if you've had an event and only 2 people took the form for the event, then you know to maybe do something differently, or just a quick way to analyze what's going on. To create a new form, I would just select Create New Form. From here, we would name it. We don't have to put a form description. We can leave this blank if we want to. And then we actually have, there's 2 checkboxes, but we have 4 different choices. So this can either be a membership application, in which case I would check membership. It could be an event registration form, which would be your conference registration. So I would just check. Could both an event registration that also has a membership form built into it. Okay. And it can be neither. So neither would be like a donation form or a survey or just like a feedback form or something like that. After this, we'll just select what we want to create. So I know later we're going to be doing an event registration form, so I'm just going to check and I'm going to click Save. Oh, I didn't put a name in. Conference registration. Okay. It's going to take us directly to the form building area, but right now I'm just going to go back to that main list because we're not going to build this form quite yet. But you'll notice that that line item has popped up now underneath our form area. There's 4 different things that you can choose from for each form. So you can take this form, so that just gives you an idea of what it's going to look like to your members. I'm also going to send you, after we've completed building your forms today, I'm going to send you an email and it's going to have some directions for you to test them. When you're testing your forms, you have to be like logged out or use a different browser. I just use like an incognito window.
Sure.
Because if it in any way can, what's the word I'm looking for? Like if it can remember you or realize that you're an admin, then you're not getting the real settings. Exactly. So yeah, so there's some special instructions in that email to help walk you through how to test the forms. Taking this form will give you an idea of what you can see, but there are a lot of settings and permissions that we're going to be setting up, so it's really, I think, helpful to really see it how the member or public would see the form. We can edit these forms, which is what I'm about to do with the membership application. We can copy, so you have a conference registration for 2016, 2017 rolls around and you're like, well, it's really the same thing, it's the same form, so we can just copy it, but name it Conference Registration 2017. You can make some adjustments if you need to, but that just will make it really easy for you to create that for oncoming years. And then right now we can delete these forms. However, as soon as there's been a form submission, we will no longer be able to delete the form. So we're going to go ahead and pop into our membership application.
Can you edit it even if it's been taken?
Any fields that were filled out, you cannot.
Okay.
There are some mild edits that can be made. You can't delete the whole field. I think that you can, if it's a selection set, where it's like, do you want to do this, yes or no? Then I think you can add an additional option for them to choose from. I think you just can't take anything away, is what it is, I think.
Okay. So, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, there are 2 things that I always do when I start a form. The first thing is I come into properties. Now this is for specifically a membership application, but on any form that you begin, you want to go to properties, form settings, and we want to publish this form. I can't tell you how many times I've created forms and been like, why can't I see that? And it's because I haven't published them. So I always do that first. And so just to kind of walk you through the left and right hand side of what we're looking at, The right-hand side is going to be what the form will look like. Obviously not exactly, but kind of in a building type state. So this is what the form will look like, but obviously in a nicer format on the front end. The left-hand side is going to be everything we use to build the form and all the settings. So we have form settings, we have form elements, and then we have element properties. There we go. And so these are those items that we're going to be setting up over here. So element properties are just going to be just like overall general settings. Form settings are just going to be for each section. And as we walk through this, will begin to make more sense. So starting with this top section up here, we have this login section. This is built in. The membership application, or I should say the membership section, is going to be in every form. You'll see that when we get to the conference registration form, it'll just be grayed out. So that means that if you want to turn your conference registration into a membership application down the road, you can do that just by enabling it or abling it. Yeah. So right now, we're looking at our login section. Every form is going to have a login section. You can turn the login section off, but I do not recommend that because this is what's going to tell our system to connect any information you're collecting in the form to the member's profile. If they are not logged in, it won't be able to know whose profile to put the information into. Sometimes people want to have anonymous forms and stuff like that, in which case you can, but I think it's just best to leave. It'll actually give you an anonymous form. Like in the form fields, if you ask for their name, the name will pop in, but it'll tell you that anonymous took the form if you don't have this login section turned on. We can change this verbiage. Usually people just leave it alone, but you can edit it. So anytime you want to edit one of these form fields, you can just click on it and then you'll see your opportunities as to what you can edit within it. We can also set, so now I'm over into form settings. Okay, I should go ahead and start at the top. You'll notice that I've named the form membership application, but this is not what your members are going to see. Your members will see the names that are inside these little tabs. So when they go to log in, it's going to say login. Okay. If we scroll down to the next section, they'll see membership. So I might want to change this to membership application. We also have a alias, so that's going to be content. It's going to come after that / after the .net, and that would take you directly to the form. So that's going to be like the form URL. A couple of elements that we have in here. So I've published the form. We can enable the form expiration date. So if this form expires on a specific date, we can add that. You're going to see this group permissions in a lot of places. Group is just basically another word for member type. So we can come in here, and if at any point in time there's something that you only want certain members to see and others to not see, we can just uncheck. So right now we want everybody can see this. It's a membership application form. So, I mean, admin doesn't really matter, but I don't think anybody admin is going to try to come in here and take the form. So we can add a date-based pricing, which we're going to do on the conference registration form because I saw that you have early bird pricing. And we also have the option, we cannot add a discount code membership. It can be done in a general form, but not the membership.
Okay. I don't know why we would, but sure.
Awesome. Yeah, exactly. I don't think that most people have that. So. And there's other ways, better ways to have discounts in the dues if we need to do that. The forward URL just means that they've completed the submission. The second they hit the submit button, it's going to forward them to whatever URL you put in here. Now it'll just take them back to the home or to the main page that they were on previously from your website if we don't put anything in here. But if for some reason you want to take them to a specific page of information, then we can put that URL in here to take them directly to that page of info. Okay. So we've got our username, password, our email. So then we can collapse this if we're done looking at it. And now we can look at the membership application section. So doing this, so I've added some text. We're going to kind of review this together and see if it's set up the way that you like. The next thing that I had to do, so this is the number 2 most important thing if I'm doing a membership application, is this member type. This is going to tell me what members can take this form, or what members people can choose to be, I should say. So if I'm the public, I come into this form, this member type is going to allow me to select any of these member types that I can be. I went ahead and took off admin because nobody's going to come in here and try an admin. So this section here, it was just like a place for text, and it just said choose a member type below to join as a new member. And I saw that you had this information on your last. I don't know if it's important to have this info, but I added it because I figured it'd be easier to just take it away. Do you like this, or do you want me to take this away?
For which part?
This is for, like, they've gone through the login section. They're getting ready to take the membership application. And they'll see this.
Yeah. You mean the information about the categories?
Yes.
Yeah. Although staining. Go to available member types for me. That other screen you had for a second.
Oh.
The lifetime one's kind of confusing because that's one we issue to them.
So I should take that off.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be something that we assign. So I think it would be one they can't choose. Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay.
Other than that, I think we're good.
Awesome. That makes sense. Okay. All right. Awesome. So I'm just going to save that. Okay. So we've established what member types we want to be able, or what member types your members can choose from as they're taking the membership application. The membership application can be taken for renewals.
One more question. If I wanted to edit that text, where do we edit it?
We would just click on the box. So anytime we want to edit a form field, we're just going to click and then edit new member text.
Perfect.
And it's going to come up with that WYSIWYG.
Perfect.
Awesome. The content definitely kind of plays a role in here as well, because there's that WYSIWYG editor, and there's a couple other things we're going to look at throughout this that will look familiar. So we also can set, so I think 9 times out of 10 your members will just be renewing their membership through those automatic renewal invoices that they receive.
Mm-hmm.
But if they wanted to come in here and take the membership application to renew, they would be available to do so. However, it would have to be after the first renewal notification has gone out, because that's what generates the invoice.
And the reason this probably will happen is, like, at my institution pays for mine, therefore somebody comes in once a year and does a whole bunch of people. So they're not doing it through our the email. They're getting an IPR basically with 10 people's names on it, and then somebody's going to go in and do everybody's.
Okay. They can be forwarded the emails. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, now that doesn't work because they'd have to log in.
Right, but if those invoices are forwarded to them in the emails, you don't have to log in to pay those.
Perfect. That's probably how it'll happen then.
Yeah, generally it's just easier, I think, to deal with it that way.
Yeah. But they will, sometimes they'll have new people, in which case they'll come in here.
Absolutely, yep. Okay, so now I'm getting into the body. I'm getting into the body of some of the things that I've added. This individual name was already in here. This is part of the membership application of something it asks for. So if you wanted to rename either of these, this label, you can. Now you've also seen something new, and that's this export name. Export name means that if you are going to be able to export any of these forms into like an Excel document, so the export name is the column heading to let you know what information that is.
Great.
So the column heading for this would be individual name. We can change this label. If you go back to attributes, when we went through that on our database training, we talked about how there's built-in attributes and how they have labels. This is where that's going to come in into function, is those labels now that we're using. So continuing to move through, I began adding form elements. So here are my form elements, and this is kind of take back to those we have those built-in attributes here, which we set up. We have those custom attributes here, which we created together. Now, if there's a piece of information that you don't need tied to the member's profile, but you just need it for that information on the form, we can use a form field. So in this case, maybe you're having a dinner. Which dinner option would you like? You don't need that in their profile because you only need it for one thing. You don't need it stored forever. So then we would use those attribute fields or attribute types to set that up. And we'll go back through these again together because I know that we went through them quickly on the database training. But hopefully maybe some of it will come back a little bit. And then we have presentation. Now presentation fields are exactly what it says. They're just items as to how the form will look. You create a presentation, so now, well, we really just want to go ahead and make them as well. All is grab my events and drag it in an event section, so now we can use this form for both. So those checkboxes that we clicked in the very beginning, it pre-set up the form for us, but we can make edits if we need to, so it's not like forever. The next item is, so if you weren't making a membership application or an event section, you can just have this general field or this general form section. Some of these other items are like horizontal line that'll show up as like a separator in the form. Oops. We have a label. I like to use labels to add any body of text in the form. So we can just drag this label in. Okay. We can edit the text, and then we can say, any text that needs to go here would go here. So you can label sections this way. I want to create sections to the member, kind of thing. And then, so I'm deleting it. So I just clicked the field or the field. Oh, it's thinking. We also have a page break so that if you have a ton of things you're asking, you can put in a page break, and that way your member's not scrolling through tons of questions. It's separating it into different pages. And then we also have just some white space, and that's exactly what it says. It's just some white space between these different categories. So I'm going to delete these items.
You need some white space.
That's right. Sometimes you just need a little clear space. Okay. Awesome. So to show you what I did when I built these items out, the library system institution I grabbed from your custom attributes. So a quick little tidbit, anytime you see this little man's face next to any of these items, now you're not going to see this on the front end when your members are taking, but anytime you see it when you're building the form, that tells us that it's going to save this information in the member's profile.
Okay.
So this was a custom attribute that I grabbed, library system. And to add it, all I did was found the attribute, grabbed it, and dragged it. That's how we're going to add any fields in here. And then there we go. To delete it, I would just click and delete. Now I noticed library name was not something that we had created as a custom attribute. So I just came into my form elements and used a form field and created something new just by using this text box. So to go back through these different custom attributes, a text box is just going to allow you to create any label and have your member fill in any type of text in here. If they need to have a larger space to add additional information, we can change this display type as a text area.
Okay.
To continue to work through these, so state, just to show you what it'll look like if you want just a state, it's going to give us a drop down of all the states. We can make some additional customizations to this, like add provinces or military addresses or U.S. territories. We can have it display the full name or just the abbreviation. So each little form field is going to have little things like that. Now, to kind of re-review these permissions, let's say that you only wanted to collect states for your member type. We would just select that one member type that we would want to collect that information for. And then save. And that means that when your members are taking the form, if I checked that I'm an institutional member, I will see that field. But if I checked that I'm a full-time member, I'm not going to see it because it's only there to show for the institutional member. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me go ahead and delete this one to continue to work through the selection set. A couple of different things we can do with select. We don't use here. So this is where we would choose to choose from. So in this case, we could say, what would you like for dinner? We would make sure that we added this in the export area so that if you decide to export this, you know what this information is. Now, in emails, we can make you'll see a little red asterisk pop up next to them. We can add our selections. So we can say, turkey, ham, veggie. And now, in this selection set, something that we can do is, let's say that you only have 20 turkey sandwiches, 20 ham, and 20 veggie. We can put a limit as to how many times these options can be chosen. Yeah. We can put a limit as to how many times. So if 20 people choose turkey, that's going to be a grayed out option that they can't choose anymore. Now this is going to go a little bit further. Something else that we can do with this, we can make it a price field. So we're going to be using this on a couple of different things, probably in that conference registration form. So we can add pricing to these. So let's say that each of these are $10. Now if somebody chooses, we'll make the veggie $8. Now if somebody chooses the veggie, this is going to automatically become a line item on the invoice within the form that they'll be given to pay. And it'll let you know how much they are. So now I can choose. Now if maybe they want 2 sandwiches or something, they have the option to where if we want to, we can have this display, and we went over this in the attributes in the database training as a single select drop down, meaning they can still only choose one, but it just is going to drop down. We can make it a checkbox multiple select, meaning they can select multiple of these, either 2 or 3 or just 1. And then this is a multiple select drop down, meaning they can select multiple, but it comes up in a drop down. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There is one additional thing that we can do in here, and I'm going to show you, but if it confuses the heck out of you, it's totally fine. I have member type pricing that we can set up. So what that means is if you want
cheaper if it's somebody else.
Right, exactly.
Or whatever.
And I'm clicking this, but it's not letting me do it. Exactly. So let's say that you want I don't know why it's not working this very second.
Like, we're feeding our students for free.
Right, exactly. If they're a student and they don't need to pay, then you'll be able to set that up. We're going to do that, I think. I don't remember if we're doing that in the conference registration form or not, but we might be able to walk through that.
Yeah,
I think we will. And then lastly, anytime you add a money field into a form, and this is really important, anytime you add a money field into a form, you have to set up the payment processor and revenue account, because otherwise this money is not going anywhere.
Sure.
So in this case, we would have we might have food or something silly like that, but we would just say whichever it is, and then it'll default, the payment processor will default, so you shouldn't have to set that up, but I would always just make sure it's set up the right way. Okay, and then you can add some text in here for the memo if you want, and you have the option to change the line item that'll pop up on the invoice. So you could change this like for food. Okay, so it's just different things. I'm going to delete this. Okay, so just to continue to review through those different form elements, number field, this is also another important one. I use this on your membership application to collect the donation, just like what you'll see here. So what I can do is, we can just collect a number like, how many kids do you have? And then have them fill that out. But you can also say, how much do you want to donate? Whoops. Goodness gracious. Make sure that we put this in our export. Now, if we want to have them put in how much money they want to donate, we would make this a price field. Now, the first option it's going to give you is something times something. Like, you can fill in how much of this number is going to go in this blank, and then you can say, so sometimes people use this if I develop stores for them and they're selling T-shirts, and each T-shirt's $25, and there's a picture of a T-shirt. You can say, how many T-shirts do you want? If you want one, you'll put the number 1, it'll times it by 25, and then the invoice is going to be $25. You can also just do a currency input, which is what I did for the donation. And so now it's just they can put in however much money they want to put in. And then once again, we would have to make sure we set up the payment processor and revenue account, because anytime we collect money, we want to make sure we have direction as to where the money is going. Okay. The rest of them are easy peasy as far as those form fields. So let's peek at really fast. Image. It's just going to allow them to upload an image. So if you want to rename the title, what we would have to do is rename the label name. So we could say, please upload your resume. We can also have just a file as an image, like please upload your logo. File would be like a resume. What books are you looking for in a library, or do you have a wish list or something like that? What's your birthday? And they'd be able to type that in here. So I could just say birth date, and then they could put that date in. And then lastly, if you want to collect a country, and that's just going to give you a drop down of all the countries. And then once again, to make any of these required, I would just click on the field, and then there's going to be this toggle to make it required. Required. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Do you have any questions on those form fields? I know we were kind of going over a lot, or the presentation, or anything like that.
I get the gist of it. When I have to find a specific thing, that may be different, but
it'll take some. Yeah, it'll take some time to find those items. To me, the hardest part is just those permissions. Make sure you always publish the form, and then and make sure that if it's a membership application, which hopefully you won't have to create another one, but that you're selecting who is able to, what member types people are able to choose. So I do want to point out a couple other things. Now you notice title has the little man's head, which means that it's going to collect the information. The address you may work. So if there's multiple labels that we set up in attribute, then it's going to pop up like this. This is a little different. So you'll notice they both say available. There's not that toggle to make them required. If we want them to be required, we would just have to use this drop-down option. Do you want either of these required?
No. Although, can we change one to home rather than main?
Yes. Let me do that really quickly. Do you want main to be an option as well, or just home?
Well, that's a good question, because people it's a matter of, do they want content via their work or via their home? But I see main as being, we've got two issues. One, they might want to put work in for both. I don't know if that's.
You did have a question. What mailing address would you like us to use? And then you say, please check either home or main or work or something like that.
Weird that we would use the word main. The second issue is in the library world. Your main library is your headquarter library versus your branch.
Ah.
Which is just a thing. It's just how we use that term sometimes.
Gotcha.
So that's weird that that's the term we would use.
We can just make it say home.
Yeah,
that's fine.
That's what I'd do.
Perfect.
And we'll go from there.
Cool. So now, let me go back to my form list. I'm going to go back and adding the membership application. So now you'll notice that this says home. So we've got our home and our work. You only had your home phone that you were asking for. Do you want to ask for another? We've got all these options.
I'm thinking.
They're fine. I figured.
It's whatever they want. Like, it's preferred, which doesn't help for your labels because we have
you can put them all on there, and they can just pick, which ones. We don't have to make them required. They can just pick which ones they want to.
Do home and work. Don't worry about the main. And in fact, the main one we can
get rid of.
Yeah.
I think that you have information tied to it.
Do I?
We'll look at it in a second.
Okay, and that's probably just bad
labeling.
Labeling, yeah. And I cleaned some of that up, so it may used to have had data. I've actually been in there cleaning some data.
Okay.
Because I deleted a bunch of once I moved the data, I deleted some of the fields.
Gotcha.
I think that was the right term.
You're doing perfect. That's exactly right. Awesome.
Like, bad Donald. He sent you bad data.
No way. All right. No.
Fine. Well, and you can't. It's hard to. I think in the format he was looking at, it's hard to tell that things were named a bunch of different ways. So
exactly.
Seeing it that way helped.
So in order to add, I'm just going to click this field, and I'm just going to come down to work, and I'm going to just say available. And that'll pop up.
That's great.
Cool. And then, yeah, you had this one. Oh, it actually did say home, so that makes sense. So good. I'm glad we fixed that. So we have preferred mailing address, so they'll choose home or work. Do you want to make this required or no?
Yeah, make that one required.
Now, this is not going to save it in their profile because, see, there's no little man head. So do you want me to change this?
Not really. We pretty much don't email them. I mean, we don't mail them much anyway.
Okay. Okay. And did you say you did want to make this required? I can't remember. Preferred mailing address?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And then we just have this county. Go ahead.
Why did we ask for their county?
Do you want to take that off?
We really asked for their county?
It says, like, right underneath home phone and then preferred mailing address. I'm looking at your membership application.
No,
and then it says,
obviously, I didn't.
County of residence.
Leave it there, but that's weird. I'm going to find out why.
Okay. Sounds good. And, if you want to come in here and delete it, just click on it, and then you can scroll down here and delete.
I like simple. I like as simple forms as possible. There is no need to ask stuff we're not going to ask. We don't ever going to use.
Absolutely. Now, the next area you were asking for their membership type and dues, but they already selected their membership type, and they don't have to select their dues because the system will recognize their dues.
Okay.
So I left that out. Now, then you had this. An individual membership will entitle, this piece of information here, which I need to reformat, but how can we set this up? So there were sections and roundtables. Did you want me to make these selection sets as attributes so that that information would tie to their profile?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do that really quickly because there's just a couple of options. And we'll be able to walk through this process together. So I'm adding a custom attribute. I don't want to have to reset all my settings, so I'm going to do a shortcut to create this. Instead of saying add custom attribute, I'm just going to find a similar one that I'm looking for, which in this case it's selection set, and I'm going to copy it. This is going to save all of my settings, so I don't have to go back and reapply this to all of those member types and all that kind of stuff. So now I'm going to edit, and now I'm just going to call this sections, and then instead of yes, I'm just going to add these things in here. There we go. So now that I'm doing this, I'm going to add a new selection set. I'm going to add another one. And we're just adding these. So now we can drag these in from the list, and it's going to capture that information into that member's profile. And now how does it work? It's $5 per section or roundtable you want to be a part of?
Yes, you get 2 free, I think. And then after that, it's $5.
Okay.
Go double check that. Oh, but you get 4 if you're a sustaining member. I had no idea.
Okay. Gotcha.
Oh boy.
I don't know how we're going to set that up. That one may be a thing where...
Yeah, we're going to have to think about this.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of people that choose more than...
No, not really.
I'm going to tell you a solution when we get there. We've got a couple more things to go through, and then I'm going to suggest a solution.
I don't even know how many sustaining members we have. Let me go look.
we can peek at that.
I am suspicious.
So for your sustaining members, it looks like you have 1.
Yeah, I don't care that much then. Like,
okay.
Sam Hastings, whatever. She was our previous director. Yeah, you know what? We'll let her do anything she wants. And her name doesn't even have to be on the list. It's fine. Let's just ignore that for now.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I've got a little bit of a thing that I think can help us come up maybe with a
she was
solution
the
to that.
previous dean of our library school. She just stepped down so she could work on some other projects, but
gotcha.
Nobody's going to I'm sorry, you haven't paid your $5. Or, oh, look, yeah, no.
Okay. So here's that text. So then we just added sections. So here's my sections. I'm going to drag it over here. Boom. Now, does this need to be required or no?
No, because they can do none if they don't want any.
But they can also do multiple, right?
Yes.
So I needed to change this. So what happened was in the attribute that I set up in here, it was only allowing people to choose 1. So I need them to be able to choose multiple. So that's the check boxes, or none if they need.
There's only one issue, and that's a section is actually it's sections and roundtables. So they're both and interest groups, just to be confusing. So let's see. We'll fix that, and then we'll look at it just to double check.
Okay. Cool.
On the back end, it's fine. I just want to make sure it's not confusing on the way it looks on their membership
And we'll go
side.
through this on the front end as well.
Oh, who's that? Hello? Hi, Adrian?
Hey, are you still there?
I am now.
That was so weird. Did you get kicked off too, or was it just me?
No, I got kicked off just the voice. Not
Weird.
the, yeah. So I called back in, and then you weren't there, and then you were. So who knows?
That is bizarre. Yeah, I got kicked off too. The way that this is set up, does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, cool. Okay, and then
Can you do one more thing for me?
yes.
We also need to do interest groups.
Okay, where?
Let me see. Go back.
I see what you're saying. Is it? It's not listed on your membership application though, right?
Oh no, they're new. They're
Okay.
just like these, but we have 2 new interest groups. And I think I added them. If not, I think we have 1 in there. At least. Under the custom.
Oh.
You see the LGBTIG?
Yeah.
Yeah, so now we have 1. We actually have 2. One just got
Do you want me to add that other one really quickly? Do you have the other one on you?
Yeah. Let me look it up real fast.
Look at you already adding your own attributes in here. Oh my gosh.
No, actually, I think you added that one, but
oh.
I didn't even know it. But that's okay. I'll take it. But no, I don't think I added an attribute.
That's funny. We'll just pretend like you did.
Perfect. I like it.
Okay, so I'm gonna copy.
And we've got. Oh my goodness, we've 2 more. We've been doing all kinds of crazy stuff lately. So.
Would it be better to say like interest groups and then have those 3 underneath it, or do you want them to be separate? It would be. Okay?
Yeah, I do it just like we did before. And then we can put text in there saying that they're free for now.
Okay. And so we have LG. Is this?
Yep, IG. And that was actually a.
Is that separate?
No, that one's already been that was one you already had. Does it matter?
No, I can delete that one. I was just thinking I would delete that one and add all 3 just underneath the overall umbrella of interest group.
Okay.
Does that make sense as
and
to why we would do?
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, it's actually GLBTQ.
Boom, got it. Okay.
Okay. And then IG.
And is there one more?
No. Sorry. It's GLBTQ, which there's not a space between T and Q. Yep, and then a space. And then IG. Interest group. And then the next one is scholarly communication.
So here, okay, scholarly
communication.
Okay.
Singular.
Cool.
And then IG. And then one more.
Okay.
STEM, so STEM, capitalized, all capitalized. Yeah, it's all capitalized. Sorry.
Cool. You're fine.
IG.
Awesome.
And that's it.
Cool. So we're going to save that. We called those interest groups. So we're going to drive on over here. Edit. Okay, and now I'm going to, instead of this, I'm just going to delete this one. And then I'm going to come back into custom attributes and do interest groups.
Perfect.
ABCDEFG. There we go. Cool. And then you want to add some verbiage in here that says like these are free?
Yeah. Good.
So I'll just go to presentation. We're going to add a label.
Yeah. And then members can join an interest group at no charge. Something like that.
Perfect. Join
any interest group, so that because they can join all three. They won't.
Okay. Would you want like for more information on these interest groups, contact blah blah blah?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'll go in there.
Okay.
If
mess around.
Need be. Basically, we make these for free, and we see if people are interested, and then if enough people are interested, they eventually become roundtables.
Ah,
yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Because I think some of those roundtables are probably going to go away in the next year or two.
Okay.
And be replaced with these.
Gotcha. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So then there was an institution membership benefits little piece in here. Do you want me to add that? It came after the roundtables.
No.
Don't add that?
The part of the institutional membership. Yeah, that should probably be added. Why is it over there? Because it doesn't fit.
So we can just add it, so then we'll say, and then I'll treat this the same way I treated those others. I'll just underline it and center it. Okay. That didn't do what I wanted it to do, did it? No, it didn't.
No.
It did not. Okay. It needed to come down one more. Wait. Institutional membership.
What it really needs is those just added, like each one added after the, like it should say bronze 125, and then maybe in parentheses 1 3-day conference registration included. Complicated. But that'll get rid of, it'll make it smaller, and that's how I'd handle it. So.
Oh. Okay. Silver.
1 3-day conference registration and award brunch ticket.
All right. Whoa. Okay. And we'll peek at this on the front end really fast. Okay. And then gold.
1 comprehensive conference registration.
Okay. And then lastly, this platinum.
2 comprehensive conference registrations.
Cool. Okay. Boom. Okay.
Yeah, there's a little.
What do you? Oh, I see.
Yeah, it just needs
that 2 comprehensive.
Yeah, it pulled up here, and then you actually ended up getting so then getting the little note. If you do in parentheses after the registrations under with platinum.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and you can keep that note there, but because the note's for everybody. So just enter, and then delete the parentheses at the end of, just add one, delete, and then add one on there. Ta-da!
We did it! Teamwork makes
so hard.
Work.
It's so hard to do all that on the phone. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool. Okay. Now that we're, I'm going to have you, because I want to make sure we at least review this on what it'll look like on the front end. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and create that event conference registration form. I'm going to send you a follow-up email with those instructions to test them. And then just come through here, and if you see edits that you want me to make, or if you want to make them together, or if you just want to try your hand at them, and if it doesn't go the way you want it to, then we can fix it together.
Okay.
Awesome.
And this is looking close.
Looking good? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So we've got that donation area, and then the last piece was contributions to scholarships. So that would be the donation, and then referred by, and then referral email. Then there's this information. Attention, first-time membership applicants. Only individuals who have never been a regular member in the past are eligible for the first-time member rate. Do you want me to add that info?
I feel like that should be up near, closer to the top.
Okay.
Let's see.
Maybe under salary scale?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
There's a lot of text on this application.
You just got a lot of info for people. And I mean, another idea is to just put this, I think I might bold that, or just bold attention. Okay. Okay, cool. So once the membership application has been completed, they're going to be taken to first a summary section. So you have the ability to go into the properties for the summary section, turn it on, and then decide what you want them to be able to kind of summarize. So we can select all, or you can just, unselect some of these items. But that'll just come up, it'll just show them a summary at the end. And then lastly, we have this payment. We can't really do anything in this payment area, but it's just going to show you what fields it's going to ask for. We do have the option to let them pay later with like a check, or right now if it's turned off, that means they have to pay now.
Yeah, we should probably make it that they can pay later.
Okay.
I wouldn't do that for everything we do, but those invoices, since they often get paid by the institution, if we can print all that out and then send it to somebody, or I don't know how this is going to work exactly.
Okay. Well, in that case, it is an option for them to do that.
So does an invoice get made automatically if they say pay later? Yes.
Yes.
That's useful.
Okay, good. Yeah, it'll just be like a accounts receivable.
Yep,
right?
That's perfect, because then we can, and that's the invoice template that I'm supposed to be making, right?
Yes, correct. And then we want to go ahead and say Moolah payment processor.
Great, sure.
You're always going to see this 100 on the back end. This is just an example. It's not what they'll see on the front end. This is totally just to show you. And then lastly, we have this confirmation part. Now, this is where I was kind of talking about setting up a confirmation email. So there's going to be a confirmation section that they'll see once they submit that'll say thank you, but then we can also turn on this confirmation email. And in here, we can data merge any info. So we can say like name, and then we can use our data merge tool from the form, and we can do, I want to do contact name, I think. System fields. I guess we would just have to do first name, last name. First name, last name. Okay, and then something else that we can do is we can say interest groups. And then we can list what interest. Now you can put as many fields on here as you want. However, I think if you put like roundtable sections, merge, and then we also do, and I'll show you why I'm doing this. That's the round table section. We also have a regular section that was called sections. And then we also have interest groups. Actually, we don't even need to know interest groups because they're not going to get charged for that.
Right.
So what will happen is we can come up here at the top and we can BCC you or somebody else in the association. So that way, and I think that's great anyways, because at least you know if you're getting new members, because you're going to see it in an email. And then you'll also, if you set it up this way, you'll be able to see if they sign up for more than 4 or more than 2 or however many it is. So you've already got the verbiage in there saying, hey, if you sign up for more than this, it's $5 each. And then if they do so, and you see that in this email that goes out, you can create an ad hoc invoice to send to them for $5 or however many additional groups they signed up for. That would be my solution to that.
Okay, that's not so bad.
If it's rare and it doesn't happen often, then it'll be,
I think,
yeah. Okay. And And then, if you want to put any other information in here, you can use library or something like that. Library.
Yeah.
But I would come in here and just play with this. Institution. And then also just, do you want me to go ahead and throw you as a BCC recipient in here?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay, let me grab your email. There you are. Okay. And you can add additional as well. Okay. And so then that's just that little confirmation email part. Do you have just a couple more minutes for us to go through this on the front end? Okay, cool. And I did want to change the name of this from membership to membership application. Whoops, spelled correctly. There are a couple of other settings in here for the form. I'm just thinking if any of these are going to apply, so if I should even go down there. No, I'm not going to. Okay. So I want to test this as a new member. So I'm going to come in here. I know that it's going to be your URL. And then membership, I think it was just application.
I think so.
And this will take us directly to the form. So we have our login area. I'm going to say I'm a new user, so I'm going to say test member clicks. So this is exactly what it'll look like to your members, to a new member. Okay, I'm going to register. I'm going to create a password. I'm going to create the profile.
So they don't have to have fancy passwords.
No, it can. I just literally did the number one.
That's fine.
Now
this is not that important.
Okay, here's all that. We've got our membership application, and here's all that verbiage. So it's a lot. I think we might want to. Is that too much?
I'll go in and play with that.
Okay. Member type. This is where I would select my member type. And now it's going to pull up the questions that would ask for that specific member type. So now I can start filling out this information, my name. It's going to ask for my institution. None of this stuff is, required. Address. So here's all those fields. We required this. County of residence. So we've got a little bit more text. We might want to add a page break in here somewhere to break this up a little bit. Maybe even add sections, like name this like interest group section or group section or something like that. Members can join any interest group at no charge. Then I can select one of these. Here I can put in my donation contribution. I've got a referred by and a referral email. And we might, well, they're optional, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think that scholarship changed, name changed.
And then this is my summary section. Oh, look, I didn't put anything in. And then at that point I would submit, which I'm not going to do. But that's what it'll look like on the front end. Are you happy with the way that's beginning to kind of look?
Yeah.
Okay. I will go ahead and create the event registration or the conference registration form, and then like I said, so I'm just going to be sending that follow-up email for you to test these and get in here. And I mean, if you have the time, get in here and play around, because it's going to be, I think, the best way to learn. And if you come across like, hey, this button, we didn't go over this, what does this do? Then we can discuss it together. And even if we need to take a few minutes, we only have one training left. So the fourth training is usually pretty easy peasy. So we can review any of these things on that fourth training if you want to. Does that sound like a plan?
It does. It does.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm busy trying to figure out whether that scholarship changed names or not.
Perfect. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and I do. I think if I play with it and try to get some of the changes I see knocked out, and really I don't see significant changes. I know I need to make the confirmation email and some of those other templates, and then if I have questions, that next Thursday.
Awesome. Oh yeah, we went ahead and scheduled that, didn't we?
We did.
That we are superstars, and I already sent that to you.
I think so.
Okay. Wow. So
send that
you're
again,
going to be.
Make sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send that as part of my follow-up. Well, I'll just send it now. So cool. So when we're done with that, I'm also going to go ahead and create your Go Live checklist. So that's going to just be making sure that everything's been done on your end and everything's done on my end, and we'll review that at the end of that. Okay, on that 4th training. All right. Well, that's all I got. Do you have any questions for me before I let you go?
No, this looks great. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'll just talk to you next Thursday.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye.